Hola clase, ¿cómo están? Excelente, and welcome back to Learning with Senor Cow Cow. Let's get started with your warm-up. So go ahead, saquen papel y practiquen. Pause the video now. All right, so we're using our new travel airport vocabulary. So let's have a look. Number one, we get in line at customs. Hacemos cola en la aduana. They pass through security. Ellos pasan por seguridad. I go on vacation and it's in September. Voy de vacaciones en septiembre. No, my passport and ticket are in my suitcase. That would be a big problem. Mi pasaporte y mi boleto están en mi maleta. And there we go. Now, I want to reemphasize how this vocabulary is definitely a longer vocabulary, and it's more difficult than what we are accustomed to, because there's really very little here that resembles its English counterpart. Words like pasaporte are fine, taxi, things like that, but otherwise, there's not too much help that we're getting here. Okay, now a quick review. I went over all of this in my last video, but just a quick review of the process of traveling by plane, okay? Because there's definitely a process to this. Okay, so you buy your ticket online. Now you can go to somewhere like a travel agency, but it's really not the most common thing nowadays. So you go to a website like Orbitz or Kayak or something like that, and you buy your plane ticket. You put in, where you're going and the month and day and all that. You drive to the airport. Then first you check in at the desk of the airline that you're traveling with, such as Delta or Southwestern or things like that. You show them the ticket you printed out. So they scan that. Then you do what's called checking your baggage, where you hand it to them. They take it, they weigh it, they keep it, and it goes onto the plane. As long as you're under 50 pounds, there is no penalty fee, because if you are, you have to pay like $100. They give you what's called a boarding pass, which has your name, your seat number, all this information, and you need this to get on the plane, so you don't lose this. You go through security, which again is where you have to take off your shoes and your belt and all this kind of stuff. And they scan you and maybe pat you down and check you for anything you're not supposed to have on the plane. Then you check the screen for the correct gate and time for your flight, because it could change at any time. So you have to keep checking those screens. You go to your gate, which again, this is a gate. It's a sitting area. It has a number and a letter, usually. And here's a little door that you walk out to the plane. Then you board the plane. After you land, you go to the baggage claim and you get your stuff. You go through, if you're in America, this is the last step. If you have gone to another country, you go through customs so they can check if there's anything you shouldn't have, and you go through immigration, which is basically you justifying why you are allowed to be in that country. And that's it, okay? Now, let's go over a quick reminder. I'll tell you tomorrow, whenever we're going to have a quiz over this. We'll probably do it after we combine it with something else. But just so you know, like I said, spend every day studying this. Even if it's not a long time, every day is how long you need to study this, because if you take the quiz or the test and there is a word you don't know, it's going to be blank and you can't answer it. So that'd be -5, -10, depending on how big the quiz is. So make sure to study your words. I was trying to think if there was something else I was going to say about that. Yeah, and again, learn them. If there's anyone who's been using Google Translate or have your notes out during a test, I've had it confirmed that the exam is going to be on paper, blank Scantron, you. Okay? So if you've been just fudging it the whole time, you're going to be in trouble. Okay, let's go back over our vocabulary. Okay. All right. Travel website. El sitio web de viajes. To confirm the flight. Confirmar el vuelo. To pack a suitcase. Hacer la maleta. To take a trip. Hacer un viaje. Again, in English, we take a trip. In Spanish, you make a trip. To go on vacation. Ir de vacaciones. So I go on vacation would be yo voy de vacaciones. Nosotros vamos de vacaciones. To call. Llamar a. This is to call a person. Yo llamo a mi mamá. Él necesita llamar a su maestro. To travel. Viajar. A layover. La escala. I explained in the last video what that means if you don't know. Ticket is a boleto. Round trip ticket. Boleto de ida y vuelta. A ticket of going and returning. Luggage. Equipaje. Identification. La identificación. This is an example of a word that you probably shouldn't spend much time on and focus more on things like aduana, things that are harder. Passport. El pasaporte. Itinerary. El itinerario. Again, on the last video, I explained what that means, an itinerary, what that is. Suitcase. La maleta. Boarding pass. La tarjeta de embarque. A card of boarding. To board. Abordar. Airport. Aeropuerto. El aeropuerto. Flight attendant. El auxiliar de vuelo, or in her case, la auxiliar de vuelo. To check luggage. Facturar el equipaje. The baggage claim. El reclamo de equipaje. To get in line. Hacer cola. The screen. La pantalla. Passenger. Pasajero. El pasajero or la pasajera. I need to change that. Let me just type this. I'll just type the whole thing. There. El pasajero, la pasajera. To pass through. Pasar por. And then you have security, seguridad, customs, la aduana, immigration, la inmigración, gate, la puerta, which is the same word as door, which it has a door that you go out of. Departure, that is a salida. Arrival is a llegada. Flight, el vuelo. Airplane, el avión. House of exchange, casa de cambio, house of exchange. where you change your money over. You'll see they have all the different money symbols here for euros, yen, pounds, dollars, pesos. All right, train station. La estación de tren. Bus stop. La parada de autobús. And to take a taxi, tomar un taxi. And finally, to ask where is, ¿dónde está? Or ¿dónde queda? And there we go. Again, that's a lot of words. So it looks like close to 40 words, looks like. Okay. Which is not impossible. I've given this every year of my career. I've given this vocabulary, and some people do fine, and some people don't do fine. If you study, you will be fine. You have to spend time practicing, writing sentences, things like that, but you will be okay. Okay. Now, your last thing is today's assignment. I want you to draw and label an airport. On your drawing, I want there to be 10 vocabulary words, and I want you to make 5 sentences with your vocabulary. Okay? So, draw an airport, label 10 things, and then write 5 sentences. For example, the passengers passed through customs, or I am at gate B5. Any of those sentences like that. The whole point is you are using your verbs, you're using your vocabulary, and you're making those sentences. Okay? All right, I will post that on Google Classroom now. Adios.